All right, guys. So I'm gonna make a video. Someone requested me to make a video about moving your stop to break even or not, whether it's like the right thing to do or not. I apologize. I'm in a poker tournament right now. I just free play for fun. Poker's a good way to learn risk management though and understand probabilities a lot better. I would highly recommend playing poker. So I'm sorry if I play it the meantime while I'm doing it, but I'm just kind of like I'm just passively playing. So don't expect it's not gonna be it shouldn't be too disruptive, and if it is, I apologize, but I'm kind of doing several things at once right now because I don't have a lot of time today. But anyway, so the reason why moving your stop to break even doesn't matter, I will show you that. Now, prefacing that, I will say that if you have backtested a specific strategy on a specific asset or a specific pattern, and it tells you that you shouldn't, that you should move your stop to break even, that you will have a higher profit factor when a certain stock or a certain type of stock or a certain type of pattern is doing a specific thing, and if it tells you that moving your stop to break even actually increases your profit factor, then you should do it. Or it might tell you that you should trail your stop. Okay, there are systems that, because of what they're looking at, the data that they're looking at, they will tell you to move your stop to break even, or to move your stop into profit, or to trail your stop. Now, that aside, let's just say, strategy aside, I'm going to show you why moving your stop to break even doesn't matter. It literally doesn't increase or decrease your profit factor. Okay, and so let's just say that if you let's just say you're going for a 1-to-1 trade, but let's say you move your stop to break even at 0.5. I'm just going to make this very simple, okay? But understand that moving your stop to break even at anywhere along the way to that, it's going to have the same effect on probability where it ultimately breaks even, okay? So let's say that that you move your stop to break even at 0.5. That means that half the time that your stop is now break even, which is here, but I'm just going to leave that there so that it looks right. But so this doesn't count anymore. This is now your stop. Half the time from this 0.5, half the time it will go into profit and hit your target. Half the time it will go hit your stop loss. Okay? So you might think, oh, well, half the time I win and half the time I lose nothing. So I win, right? But that's not true, because if you have to follow the probability tree back to the beginning, which is that from the beginning of the trade, half the time it's going to go into profit and hit the target, and half the time it's going to lose. Okay? So all you're doing is you're taking the 50% of the time that it wins, and you're dividing that into more halves. So half the time that it wins, half the time that it loses, it breaks even. Okay? So that's just saying that basically half the time, anyway, I just said it, but basically what you'll find out is that basically half the time that it hits your break-even stop, you'll find that it will come here somewhere, and then it will actually ultimately come back and end up going to profit anyway. So you just cut out those winners. However, half the time that it stopped out at break-even, it would have gone all the way to lose, right? And so you're eliminating half your losses and half your wins. So let's think of all your wins as +1 and all your losses as -1. If you add those together, what do you get? 0. So it breaks even. Does this make any sense? Half the time it wins, half the time it loses. Half the time that you move to break even, it wins. Half the time that you move to break even, it loses. Half the time that you moved to break even and it lost, it would have gone all the way to here. Half the time that you move it to break even and it loses, it actually would have ended up winning. So again, it just ultimately comes out to break even, and it doesn't win, it doesn't add or take away from your profit factor in the long run unless your backtest tells you that it does. Okay? It's pretty much that simple. I hope that makes sense to you, but that's just basic probabilities, okay? Half the time it wins, half the time it loses. Half the time you move to break even, it wins. Half the time you move to break even, it loses. Half the time you move to break even and it loses, it would have actually won. Half the time that you move to break even and it loses, it would have actually lost if you hadn't moved the stop. So again, all just breaks even in the long run. Okay, so be careful when you listen to these people online that talk about taking a partial profit and moving to break even, because let me actually let's since I covered this fairly quickly, let's go into a further understanding of why taking partials actually makes your strategy more difficult. Now it could increase the profitability of your strategy, but it also will make it much harder to achieve that profitability. And this is why you shouldn't take partials, in my opinion. Okay, generally speaking. Ooh, that's a really good hand. I'm going to just shove this real quick. Let's just see what happens, guys. YOLO! Sorry, we're taking a little break. I'm actually... Okay, here we go. Might win, might lose. Oh, no, so unlucky. Oh, dude! No way! Oh, dude! That's sick, dude. That is so sick. All right, I'm glad you guys got to see that. Anyway, let's see. I got a bad hand. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, what is that? Okay. So let's just say you have 3 contracts on. I think I did a video about this before, but this is why partials are very difficult. Okay. Let's say that you put on 3 contracts. Okay, and you're gonna take a partial at a 1-to-1, you're going to take a partial at a 2-to-1, and you're going to take a partial at a 3-to-1, okay? So that means that if you take one contract off at a 1-to-1, so that means half the time it goes to a 1-to-1 and you win 1 contract. Half the time it goes to the 1-to-1 loss and you lose 3 contracts, okay? So if half the time you win 1 and half the time you lose 3, obviously that's a losing strategy, right, in the long run. This is why, in order to be doing partials, your backtest has to tell you that your edge needs for you to do partials. Otherwise, you should stay away from them, okay? Because the rule of large numbers will eventually destroy it. Even though for a while you will have success with it and feel like you're winning, trust me, eventually it will swing against you and you'll lose all your money, and then more, okay? So if you think about it, if you take a 1 off at a 1-to-1, and then you take your second contract off at a 2-to-1, then you've won 3 Rs, right? You won 1 here, and the second one at a 2-to-1. That's the same as losing 3, okay? So basically what that means is half the time you have to win a 2-to-1 in order to break even when you've put on 3 contracts, correct? Okay, so if a 2-to-1 strategy needs a 50% win rate to work, but if you just put on a 1-to-1 contract, right? You just put on 1 contract and you win a 2-to-1, okay? A 50% win rate of a 2-to-1 strategy where you have 1 contract, do you know what the profit factor of that is? That is insanely profitable. You will make so much money in the long run. So this is why partials work against you. If you have 3 contracts on, you take 1 at a 1-to-1, 1 at a 2-to-1, and 1 at a 3-to-1, you have to hit the 2-to-1 at least 50% of the time in order for the strategy to profit. All right, I'm going to have to YOLO again. Could lose here. But if 8's won, then jacks have an even higher probability of winning. I usually don't shove, but like shoving pairs is a pretty good idea, at least high pairs. Like you will win a lot of the time. Sometimes you'll bust out, oh well, but you will. It does have like the highest profit factor. Oh my gosh, he flops a flush. Feels bad, man. Oh well, at least I'm still up from that last shove. Unlucky. But anyway. So that's why you see that a 2-to-1 with 1 contract versus a 2-to-1 where it's the second partial, you should only have your whole position on. You should be putting your whole position here and then taking it here. If you can win a 2-to-1 50% of the time, you have a better system than my bot even has. Okay? I'm pretty sure that is like one of the highest profit factor systems I could imagine, because I think that's a 2.0 profit factor, right? I believe so. I believe if you win a 2-to-1 50% of the time, that is a 2.0 profit factor, and you will be a billionaire in no time. You want me to actually show you how quickly you'll be a billionaire? Look at this, okay? Let's say you start out with $1,000, okay? Also, we have to do the trade and break-even calculator. So if you risk 1 and you win 2, what's the break-even win rate? I'm sure you guys know. It's a 33.33%. So you win a 2-to-1, but let's say you win it 50% of the time, okay? What's the edge above break even there? That's about 17%, correct? So that means you risk 17% per trade. Look at this. In 100 trades, it'll already be at $200,000. Okay? I'm folding that. Okay. In 200 trades, it will become almost $10 million. In 300 trades, it will become $70 million. In 400 trades, it will become $97 billion. Okay, so as you can see, that's doing it with a one contract, take the full position off. If you're taking partials, as you can see, it just becomes infinitely harder. Unless you know that you're actually gonna get super far, if you're gonna hit that 3-to-1 like a large percentage of the time, then there's no reason really to do that. And honestly, at that point, you would probably just put your full position on and take the full position off at a 3-to-1, and you'll probably have a higher profit factor in the majority of cases. Okay. So anyway, that's all I really have to say today, and take care, guys, and best of luck with trading.